Hey everybody. So I've been asked a lot about the process of moving to Russia, and I'll start this video by saying that if you want to know the actual mechanics, the visa process, um, how to move money, how to buy a house, I cover that on my channel in different videos fairly loosely. But if you want detail and if you want to speak to somebody with real knowledge about specifics like that, you need to look at my friend's channel, Sam's Russian Adventures. Sam is a lovely human being. And if you've got any questions, you need some help about the specifics of the topics I've just covered, please have a look at his channel if you haven't already. Contact him directly by email or on Telegram, and he'll help you. He's just a very helpful guy. My channel really is more covering these topics, but not in depth and in detail. It's more, I suppose, the emotional side of things rather than the specifics and the actual process of doing that sort of thing. Anyhow, I'm waffling. The purpose of this video is really, before you get to that point, you've got to ask yourself why, and I think that's where we start. Why are you moving to Russia? Why do you want to move to Russia? Is it for work? Is it for quality of life? Is it for love? Is it all three? It is always very romantic, I think, to move to another country. It looks, as I say, like sunshine and rainbows. But without having given it too much thought, you might easily make some huge mistakes. So what I'm going to tell you really in this video is the basic steps before you get to needing somebody like Sam, needing his more detailed advice. So you've got it in your head you want to move to Russia. It's important to first establish why. As I say, if it's work, if it's lifestyle, if it's love, and if it's all three, because that will change the direction in which you will go. If it's solely work related, for example, the visa application process will more often be dealt with by the person or company that you're coming to work for. So that's just one example. I'm not going to cover all of those aspects. This is really about if you're coming here for all of those reasons, but you're not coming here for work specifically. So, you want a lifestyle change, or you're falling in love, and everything else is secondary. Maybe you won't work. I don't work. So maybe you're not going to come here and work. Maybe that's a thought process further down the line. Maybe you'd like to start your own business at some point, but your primary goal is just to move to Russia. The first thing I would tell you to do is, and this might surprise you, but if you're coming from somewhere like the UK, the first thing you need to do is decide what climate you want to live in. Russia is a massive, massive country. We all know it's the largest country in the world. But until you get here, you will not comprehend the size of this place. You won't. I don't care how many videos you've watched. I don't care what you've been told. Until you come to Russia, you will not understand the sheer immense size of this country. So the first thing, like I say, is you need to work out what climate you want, because you have every climate here in Russia. So if you're a skiing and snowboarding freak, and that's pretty much the climate you want, you're going to want to live in a completely different region to me, where I'm sitting here in the sun getting sunburnt. And it is really, really important, because as a Brit, I've seen it in the past. I've seen people move country and go to a region and wholly regret it. After a year, they've come back. It would be very easy if you didn't visit Russia to just pick a region and go, oh, I'm going to go and live there. Of course you can. But you would be, I'll be honest, insane to do that. That really would be not a good way to start your Russian adventure. If your thought process is just getting to Russia and don't really care where, you haven't really got an idea of where, you're going to end up possibly in one of the coldest parts of Russia, where you have no comprehension of cold until you come here. It's certainly, as I'm saying, speaking from an Englishman's point of view, or one of the hot parts where you won't understand, or one of the humid parts where you won't understand. And I think we've all done it. We've gone on holiday at times to a country and the weather has been really hot or has been really cold and miserable, and and it sort of surprised us. And we do talk about the weather a lot, us Brits, but it does matter to us. If you don't make the right choice regarding weather, it really will have a dramatic effect on your life. So I know it sounds like a typical Brit banging on about the weather, but please trust me, it is important. So decide what kind of climate you want. Me, I wanted a UK-ish climate, i.e. I want a summer and a winter, but I want the summer to be longer. I want the winter to be shorter. I want the winter to be similar to the UK. I don't want it too cold. I'd like a bit of snow, because snow's always fun for a bit and then it gets boring. But ultimately, I want a nice summer climate where it's not 50 degrees and you can't go out, but equally it's not 24 degrees and windy where you're sort of always wearing clothes. And the Black Sea coast is exactly that. It is here where I live, just outside a town called Anapa on the Black Sea coast, about 60 miles away from Crimea, and literally across the sea from Turkey. This climate for me is perfect. It's in the winter, it is, it's like a British winter, but it's not damp, it's just cold. So we have snow, but nothing like you would expect in Russia. Your first thought process of Russia will be huge amounts of snow. No, we have snow, but it lasts for a few days and then buggers off. You might have that for 2 or 3 times during the winter. But the spring seems to be very short. So literally spring seems to roll into summer really, really quickly. And then summer seems to be very long. So it's stretched out much longer than it is in the UK. I mean, typically in the UK, what do you call summer in the UK? Couple of months, 3 if you're lucky. For Russians, local Russians, they'll probably say the same. Summer is only 2 or 3 months. But for an Englishman here, summer feels like 6 months, at least 6 months. I was in our swimming pool in March, and I will be in that swimming pool until probably November. And that's if we don't heat it. It's not heated. It's just, it's at 31 degrees today in the swimming pool. So that gives you an idea of how long you can actually enjoy the outside. And that's what I love about this region. It is all about the outside. So that gives you an example of why the climate is important. So that's the first thing you need to decide, what climate you want to live in. Your love and your heart and everything else is great and wonderful and fantastic and very romantic, etc., etc., etc. But after that honeymoon period has faded, you're left with the reality, and the reality is living wherever you've chosen to live. And so many people will pick a region or move to Russia without researching the climate and where it is, what it is, what's around it, what are the facilities like, schools, doctors, infrastructure, all of that kind of stuff. And just make a huge mistake. And I think the purpose of this video is just to sort of be the voice of reason and just put the brakes on a little bit before you charge headlong into moving to Russia. Just step back a little bit and have a look. So decide what climate you want to live at, as I keep saying. Then research the regions that fit that climate, because there will be many. As I say, Russia is a massive place with, I think, over 90 odd regions. I'm not great, so don't quote me on that, but I think it's over 90 regions. In the UK, we would call them counties, but here a region is the equivalent to a UK county, only a lot bigger. So you need to research the regions that will fit your climate. Then off of that, you really need to start looking at what facilities, what infrastructure is available in those regions that you've narrowed it down to. And then from there, you can actually get more specific and tie it down. And then if you're looking to build a house, this is the point where you'd probably go and look at Sam's channel and look at the different options for building a house. Or you can look at my channel and look at the house that we've built. But it's only at that point, once you've researched the regions, once you've worked out the climate, that you can get to the nitty gritty and you can start looking maybe for a developer in certain regions. And again, I will stress how big Russia is. It's so, once you get, even if you tie it down to a region, just one region, that region will be vast. So you'll still be then having to narrow it down again. For example, our region, Krasnodarsky Krai, it starts down past Sochi, and Sochi is 310 kilometers away from us. And then goes up to the Kerch Bridge, and that's just along the coast. So you're looking at 400 odd kilometers of coastline just in one region, and then it obviously goes inland as well. So it's a huge region. I think it's something like 76 or 77,000 square kilometers. So even if you just didn't go through any of that process and just decide, I'm going to move to Krasnodarsky Krai, the options in this region alone are vast, and so is the climate still. You go to Sochi, it's a hot climate, but it's very humid, it's very green. It's more, I would say, more akin to a tropical rainforest almost. But it's very, like I say, it's very warm, it's very humid, very green, lots of greenery, very beautiful scenery. But you can also go skiing there in the mountains. So there's so much choice, and you really need to start narrowing it down. Just putting a label on and saying I'm moving to Russia is a bad idea. You've got to start narrowing it down. If you're moving for love and you've met a Russian lady and she lives in Russia already, the chances are you're going to move to her region. You must visit it, and that's the absolute number one. Once you've decided where you're going to live, whether it's because you've narrowed it down or whether it's because that's the only place that you're going to because work has dictated that's where you're going to move to, or your love interests have dictated that's where you're going to move to, you must visit. You must come on holiday. And I don't mean once. I came once. I knew what I wanted, but I was here for 3 weeks and I knew what I wanted. I would recommend that you come at least twice as a tourist, 2 weeks at a time, to that region, and 6 months apart. So you're seeing it, and obviously gauge it, but you're seeing it in the winter and the summer. Because I have seen people move to a different country. They visited 2 or 3 times as a tourist and have gone at exactly the same time of year each time and thought, hey, I know what this is about. I'm going to move here. And they've moved there, and the time they visited, the climate's wonderful and lovely. And then they've realised that as they live there, the climates change, and at certain times of the year, it's impossible to go outside because it's just too hot. At certain times of the year, they have to have their house smoke bombed to kill all the spiders that come and live in their house for 2 weeks. And at certain parts of the year, it is so bitterly cold that they stay indoors because they just have to sit by the heating. Now, they didn't work any of that out. They just went on holiday 2 or 3 times at exactly the same time. So it being massively hot in the summer and super cold in the winter, they didn't have any comprehension of. So it completely ruined it. And, I know people that have done this. So it's really important that you do that. But like I say, if you're going to a specific region for the reasons I've just outlined, please visit it and please visit it at 2 different times of the year so you see the climate, because it will absolutely make a difference to your life and your lifestyle and how much you enjoy Russia. You know, if you fall in love and move to a region because that's where your partner is, and you haven't visited there, you're going to get what you're going to get, and you have no understanding of it, and it might be too hot for you. If you're from the UK, you know, let's face it, we think 30 degrees is hot. Yeah, no. You know, the classic saying is, oh yeah, but when you go on holiday, it's a different kind of heat. And to a degree, that is true, but it is region specific. It does make a difference. So, like I say, the purpose of this video really is just to put the brakes on your romantic charge to going to move to Russia, and just from the beginning, your very, very first steps are to understand why you're coming to Russia or why you want to go to Russia. Then research the regions, then visit as a tourist. Only then, if you're still completely, yes, this is what I want, only then do you start looking at the mechanics of moving to Russia. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have about that, and if I can't answer them, I will direct you to somebody that can. But please look at some of my other videos on the channel regarding the house, you know, the region, the land where I live. I live in a wine region, so you know, we've got so much in this region to do. But you've got to, you know, you've got to go through this process before you get to the specifics. You really, really must, and I can't emphasize this enough. So many people will just, you know, fall in love or get a really good job and just go, and then, you know, after a month or 2 months or 6 months, just think, oh my God, I've made the biggest mistake of my life and Russia's terrible, Russia's terrible. Well, no, it's not. You just haven't used your brain and done any research and worked the place out. As I say, it's massive. It's absolutely massive. So do that, please do that. And if you have got any questions, you know, fire them to me. Send them to me by email, or join my Telegram group and ask there. There's 2 Telegram groups. There's a Telegram channel and a Telegram chat. Obviously, the chat is more interactive. Other people will respond as well as myself. So please, you know, don't hesitate to ask me anything you need to know or want to know. And if I can help you, I will. And if I don't know the answer myself, I'll direct you to somebody that can. But please, please, please follow those simple steps. Get that in place before you start your journey of moving to Russia. And if you do that and do it right, you'll live the dream, like I am. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Please share the videos. That's far more important. This channel isn't about money. It's not monetization for me. It's monetized, but there's no money. You know, this isn't about money. I can assure you, this isn't about money. It is more important to just open people's eyes. That's what my channel is about. I want to open people's eyes, like I had my eyes opened when I came here, and to show Russia in its real light, not a mainstream media propaganda viewpoint, but just a real world, raw, basic Englishman's perspective. And that's what you get. It's very raw, it's very basic, no fancy editing. And yeah, hopefully, you know, you enjoy my content. But yeah, like I say, feel free to ask any questions. Please like and subscribe and share the video, and I'll see you in the next one.